Hello everyone! Today we'll learn how to create an oceanographic cruise plan using ArcGIS-Earth. So the first thing is to go to ArcGIS-Earth, which I have open already. Here it is. The first thing that we need to do is to learn how to zoom in or zoom out. You can do that. You can zoom in using your middle wheel on your mouse or just simply double click. If you hold the left key and move around, you can drag to your area. If you want to zoom out, you can also use the home icon on your right side. That will take you to the main screen. In our activity, we suggested Gulfport, Mississippi as our initial location to start the cruise. You can either zoom in to that area or you can search for Gulfport, Mississippi. There it is. ArcGIS will take us there. It will take just a few seconds to do that. There we are. This is Gulfport, Mississippi, and this is the port. Let's zoom out of it a little bit so we can better see our region. Let's move this up. So the first thing is you can look at the bottom of your screen and you're going to see as you move your cursor, the latitude and the longitude will change. We can change the units. So let's go to the toolbar at the top of your screen. Here it says settings. That will open a menu. You have several options. For now, let's just go to the units options. You can show the latitude and longitude units as decimal degrees, or you can change them to degrees, minute, and second as you prefer. For now, let's use decimal degrees. For distant units, let's use nautical miles. In the activity, we suggest that the ship is going to be moving around 9 knots, which means 9 nautical miles per hour. So let's click OK. And let's look at our layers first. So in the top menu, the top toolbar here, the first icon says show layer list. If you click on that, you have a list of layers. For now, we don't have any layers, so it is empty. Let's add a layer. To add a layer, you have the plus sign icon, which says add data. Let's click on that. And here you have the option to open any of the ArcGIS layers or maps, or you can add your data. So let's click on add files. For this activity, we provided 8 files. So in here, the first 3 files that it says SSS, that means sea surface salinity. Those are predicted salinities from the CONCORDE model for the dates of November 2nd, 2015 to November 4, 2015. For those files, we have a color bar. The color bar says CBSSS. And the other 3 files are the chlorophyll images from the satellite, the VIR satellite, which is a snapshot of the chlorophyll values for that day. We selected the same days as our predicted salinity. 11/2 to 11/4, that means on November 2nd to November 4th, and we also have a color bar. So you can select them all, or we can select just few files for now. Let's select November 2nd for sea surface salinity. If you hold your control key on your keyboard, you can select multiple files, select the color bars and the first chlorophyll file, and click open. So now in your layer menu, you're going to have 4 files. And your screen will adjust to the size of the image, so you will have to zoom in again to your area. If you go back to your layer menu, you can turn on and off different layers. For now, let's turn them off just by clicking on the check mark. Now we don't have anything open, so for now, let's open only the sea surface salinity and the associated color bar. To be able to see the color bar, we need to close this menu. Just clicking on the layer icon will do the trick. This is our model predicted salinity. So if you look at the colors, the blue colors means low salinities, which are usually associated with freshwater discharge, such as river plumes. This is the Mississippi River plume, in this case. More intense colors, or red and orange color, means higher salinity. And intermediate colors, such as yellow, are mixing areas. Our higher colors are usually offshore areas. Now that we have our layer, we can start preparing our cruise plan. So let's add some stations and some place marks. To add a station, you can go to the pencil or the draw icon on the top toolbar, click on it. You have three options. Select the point first. For the point, you get a new menu. So we are going to have two types of points. One that will be the place mark, and the other one will be a station. The place mark will be just to identify a location. For example, let's identify the Mississippi Sound. That's the name that we're going to give it. We can select different type of icon. For now, for the place mark, I'm going to use the balloon. And let's choose a yellow color for the balloon. To be able to move out of this menu, you have to click anywhere on the box. And then the label, which is the letters, we're going to select yellow too. Now, if you go back to your map, you can select the area. The Mississippi Sound is all this area here. So I'm going to click somewhere in it. And that's my first place mark. You can ask the student to select other areas and create other place marks, such as Mobile Bay, Chandelier Sound, the Mississippi Barefoot Delta, the Mississippi River Plume, or the Mississippi Bay, which is all this area. Or even you can have them mark the Gulf of Mexico. To be able to add either another place mark or a station, you'll need to close this, go back to the top toolbar pencil, and click point. So now let's add some stations. So let's add the first station. It's going to be station 1. I'm going to use a different symbol to distinguish between the place mark and the station. So let's use the circle, and I'm going to let it be red. And this is an exercise, so you can let the students select the stations and the location whatever they want. So just for example, that's our first station. Let's add a second station. You'll need to close this and click again on the point and add a second station. Let's give it a name. And for example, let's place it here. As I said again, this is an example. So you can always delete stations, you can change the name. So you can do that by looking at the layers. In your layer menu, you have all the stations, your place mark. If you right click on your station, you can go to properties, and that would allow you to change the name if you wish. And you can also add some information for that station. Let's say we want to collect samples for chlorophyll. And you just close it. You have to zoom out. Again, every time you go to you click on a station, it's going to zoom in. So you'll have to probably adjust your area again. Now that we have 2 points, an important part of this activity is to learn how to work with the navigation units. So let's measure the distance between station 1 and station 2 and calculate the time that it will take to navigate between those two stations. To do that, we can use the ruler, and that's the measure icon on your top toolbar. Just click on it. You have several options. The first one, that has only one dot at the top, just gives you the latitude and longitude of a point. So you just click on it, and it gives you the coordinates. But if we want the distance between 2 points, we need to select the next one. Go to your map, click on station 1, and then station 2, And the distance between those 2 points is approximately 50 nautical miles. And we said the ship is moving around 9 nautical miles per hour, so we can use the calculator to calculate the time. So 50 divided by 9, we have approximately 5 hours and a half of navigation time. Let's leave the calculator open around because we'll need it later. We can close the measuring menu, and let's add a cruise track. For the cruise track, I'm going to zoom out a little bit. There we go. It's in the same location as the station, so click draw, but this time click the line. We said we were going to start in Gulfport, Mississippi, so let's click there. Let's go to our first station, and let's go to station 2. One of the objectives was to sample the Mississippi River plume, so let's go a little south and then cross the plume all the way. Let's cross it again. We can go back closer to the Barefoot Delta, collect some samples maybe there, go out. Remember, this is just an example, so do not worry, you can always delete it, modify, create a new one. So if you're too close to land or by mistake cross the Chandelier Islands, do not worry, we can always do it again. And let's go back. So that's our cruise. Let's say we want the cruise track in white. Let's change the color here and make that line a little thicker. If you click close, it's going to ask you to save. Please say yes. And that will open a new layer on your data menu here. You can always modify it, delete it, or change it. So the important thing is to measure how long it will take us to navigate all that track. So let's measure again. This time we have to select the third option, which says path. That would allow you to measure the distance among multiple points. Let's start right here and click to station 1. You can see that it's already giving you some measurements. Keep clicking around your path. That path covers an area of 360 nautical miles. So that means that it will take, let's see, 360 divided by 9, approximately 40 hours to navigate along that track. And if you had several stations, each station, we said that it will take approximately an hour to do all the samples that we need. So you can double click on the measure, and that allows you to save it if you want. You'll see that you have a measure path here, and in case you forget the distance. So let's close this, and again you have the option to delete it, do it again, but for now we'll keep it, and we'll just add a few more stations. Let's say this is station 3. The idea is that the student add as much stations as possible so they can better sample the area and see how the salinity and the chlorophyll change inside and outside the Mississippi River plume. But just for an example here, I'm just gonna create only a few stations. Let's do one more over here. So we have 5 stations. Ideally, you'll have 15 to 20 stations for that cruise, and each station will take 5 hours. So our initial cruise track will take 40 hours you need to add those 5 hours of those stations, 45 hours. In this case, we have plenty of time to do more stations or to adjust our track so we can navigate a little more. We have 72 hours to come back to port. So, but for now, I'm gonna assume that I'm happy with my track, and I'll save a picture of my cruise track and stations. To do that, let's close the layers and click on the save image here and select the location that you want to save. In this case, I already had one save. You can either select JPEG, PNG, or TIFF. Change the name and save. That will save a snapshot of your map. Now that we have done the cruise using our model predicted salinity, let's look at the chlorophyll. Let's go back to our layers and turn off the salinity map and the color bar, and let's open the chlorophyll. Let's close this so we can see the color bar. You can see how the colors change. The red orange color means higher chlorophyll, and the blue lower chlorophyll. And the good thing about ArcGIS-Earth is that it allows you to change the layer and keep your track on top of it. So you can ask the students to create a table with their station, location, latitude and longitude, their salinity, and as well as the chlorophyll. This is just an estimate. It's not going to be perfect. But using the color bar, they can estimate the chlorophyll and do some statistics. Plot the chlorophyll versus the salinity and reach some conclusions. For example, inside the river Plume, the chlorophyll was higher than outside the area. They can also save an image of their stations and the chlorophyll using the save image icon. So the last thing to look at is we want to make sure that we save our cruise track and the stations. To do that, go to My Data, My Drawings, right click and say Save As. That would allow you to save all the stations as a KMC. Select the location where you want to save and the name, and that's it. For now, this is our lesson. Thank you for joining. I hope you enjoyed the cruise to the Mississippi River. Thank you. Bye.